Forgive us for being reactive and not proactive, for spending more money on their jail care than their public welfare. Forgive us for meeting their youthful mistakes with adult penalties, absent our love and understanding. Forgive us for placing a higher priority on balancing budgets than balancing young lives. Now enable and empower us, God, to find creative solutions to the problems that challenge, plague, and victimize our children. Empower us to be better advocates for the youth. Enable us to tell more people about the urgent need of reform for our juvenile justice system, improve our educational system, and revitalize our communities. Help us this day to be better models and perseverers of your hope. Help us this day to express love, extend grace, and show mercy for both of our and their sakes. Please hear our prayer, dear Lord. Amen and amen.
Amen.
We're going to now have Ruth to come up, and we're going to start with a chant. Okay, Miguel.
Everybody know the no justice, no peace? Everybody know that? So you scream as loud as you can because we do want press. You be listening. No justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
Give us our children back.
Oh, you want to do that one?
How does that work? Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Youth in Bridge City says, Youth in Bridge City, Swanson, Jetson say that they are treated unfair. The food is sometimes raw. The staff verbally abuse us and do not help us, rehabilitate us. We do not get proper counseling that we need. The code of conduct hearing is unfair. Our director keeps putting us on lockdown. We always spend 23 hours in our dorms because the director wants us to. We need better facilities and services.
No justice.
No peace!
No
justice.
No
peace!
So we just heard what Shane said that young people say at Bridge City, Jetson, and Swanson. Is that okay?
No!
Are we going to take it?
No!
And whose fault is that? Dr. Rogers and Governor Jindal. Governor Jindal is anticipating another $300 million in cuts in its upcoming budget, including 77 positions from the Office of Juvenile Justice. There is a reason that our young people are not getting access to programming in the facilities, that there's not enough staff. There is a reason that we don't have any more community-based alternatives to incarceration, that the community providers that provide mentoring and day treatment and tracking and reentry programs are seeing their contracts gutted, and we can't take it anymore. So what are we going to tell Governor Jindal and Mary Livers? Enough! Can I hear that?
Enough!
So thank you all for coming out here today and everyone who worked on that report. I'm really excited to hear from the rest of the speakers from FFLIC and also Mayor Cravens, who has been fighting this fight for a long, long time. And I'm really excited to, after we're done with this rally, go on upstairs to the 4th floor and tell Governor Jindal we are going to fight for Louisiana's children and that we want to see change now.
Yes! Yes! No
continuing struggle in an attempt to remedy a failed juvenile justice system in the state of Louisiana. Today reminds me of about 12, 15 years ago when we were battling to close the Lula, when we were trying to create a program that modeled the Missouri model of juvenile justice. After much debate, discussion, and some discord, we were able to pass a sweeping bill in 2002, I believe, which became Act 1225, which proposed to change the system totally and reform it totally in the state. Today, we are at a crossroads. No progress is being made. As a matter of fact, we're moving backwards. And I see no hope unless people begin to mobilize the community, activate the communities in the streets, go back to the basics, go back to whence you've come, and start all over again. Start shaking up the local folks. Start identifying the people who have children in the system and people who are concerned about the system because, but for the grace of God, their own child could be in that system. It's no coincidence that Louisiana leads the nation in the number of people incarcerated per capita, and some can even argue that we lead the world in the number of people incarcerated per capita. But we are feeding our children into the prison pipeline from infancy, and we are creating the commodity that's being used to fund that system, that uses to a large degree African American young men and men. 80% of the people incarcerated look like me and look like a majority of you, but they're all of us. And I'm saying to you, don't lose faith, don't lose hope. You need to walk in those walls and get you a champion, somebody who's going to stand up, who's going to have the guts and something else to stand up to the fourth floor, stand up to Mary Liza, stand up to the Department of Correction, stand up for humanity, for young people in this state. You need to find you a person of substance who's willing to do that. And until and unless you do it, you will be an exercise in vain. You've got to get some support. You've got to become vigilant again. I was reading something, a quote from Mary Livers, and it said corrections agencies are as good as their leadership. And the question says, what leadership? And good leadership is needed at all levels of the organization. Where is that good leadership at all levels of the organization, starting from here? In fact, it is critical to having a healthy and safe correctional environment. For that to occur, it must start with the very top. Well, I'll say to you today, you're going to have to start from the bottom. You're going to have to start from the bottom and work your way up through the system so that you can get to the top and uproot it. Our kids deserve better. There's been no movement in the juvenile justice system. It's stagnated. And as a matter of fact, it's going backwards. Kids are being abused as we speak. And what's even more frightening are those kids that ought to be given help out in the streets that are becoming dangerous because we did not apply the principles of Act 1225. What happened to the community-based models? What happened to the therapeutic model so that we could discover early in a child's life their problems and their issues so that we could keep them out of the pipeline? This is probably the most critical issue facing Louisiana today. The state of our community, the state of juvenile justice, the state of criminal justice in this state. Companies are not going to come here and build factories in a state where we incarcerate almost half of our people. It's almost criminal. And in some instances, it probably is. And I'm going to implore you today, folks, that you take every breath in your body, whether you have a child in the system or you don't have one, because they're all our children, so they all belong to us. I'm going to beg you today to start the fight over, be regenerated, get some inspiration. Look at the eyes of those young men and young women who we're out here trying to represent, so that they too can begin to have a little flicker in their eyes. that they can have hope for a better future. If I could do anything with the time I have left to live, it would be to give what I have to change the plight of our young people so that they can become good and productive citizens, so that they can live, so that they can have an education, so that they can be productive citizens, that they don't have to walk around all of their life trying to worry about who's looking at them, who's chasing them down. That's what it ought to be about. And that's what you have to do. Give it all you got. Keep fighting. And I think at the end of the day, the fight's going to have to go back to the Justice Department. I think you're going to have to file a lawsuit against the state of Louisiana and take them to court and say that we have had enough. And I would ask you, Mr. Attorney, that you start looking at that. And in whatever way we can assist you, we certainly will lend that support. Again, I thank you. I appreciate you being here. I would not have missed this for the world just if I could inspire one person to do one thing. And we could just put our heads together and begin that fight all over. Tallulah didn't close by accident. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And I remember year after year going before my colleagues in the Senate and saying, we want to close Tallulah. And they would say to me, but it's an economic development initiative for that part of the state. And I said, when the time has come that we use children for economic development, we are damned and going to hell. And every year we got a little bit more support and a little more courage. And finally, after about 4 or 5 years, we passed it overwhelmingly with one dissenting vote. I'm saying to you, you need to do something about Jetson. You need to do something about Bridge City. You need to recreate those institutions as therapeutic models if they exist. Now they want to build another one in Falls Parish, and it's going to be another secure facility, and it will not provide the resources that those young people need in those respective areas. It's all about money. It's about politics. It's not about children. Have a great day. God bless you.
All right.
No justice!
No peace!
Well, we're ready to close out, but they say great minds think alike. I was going to end with that very quote that Mayor Craven said, but I think it bears repeating. In Dr. Liver's own words, she says, corrections agencies are as good as their leadership, and good leadership is needed at all levels of the organization. In fact, it is crucial to having a healthy and safe correctional environment. For that to occur, it must start at the very top. Dr. Livers is not good leadership. So what we say to her today is, failing prisons? Oh no, Dr. Livers has got to go. Abused children? Oh no, Dr. Livers has got to go. Failing prisons?
Oh no!
Dr. Livers has got to go. Abused children?
Oh no! Dr. Livers has got to go.
Failing prisons?
Oh no! Dr. Livers has got to go.
Abused children?
Oh no! Dr. Livers has got to go.
Thank you, everybody, and join us. We're going to go up to the governor's office and tell him what?
Dr. Livers has got to go.
Right.
Go run and say we need some money for that budget too.
Everybody sign cards. If we have some visitors that haven't signed cards, please do so now, and then we'll proceed up to the governor's office.
What time is